Welcome, everyone. I now call the January 6, 2026 regular City Council meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. At this point, I will take a moment to take roll call of the council members by position number. Please say here when I call your name. Councilmember Anguluri.
Present.
Councilmember Thompson.
Here.
Councilmember Alderks.
Here.
Councilmember Kurd.
Here.
Councilmember Miles.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
Councilmember Al-Kabra.
Here.
All present. At this time, I will invite the Judge Langburn to administer the oaths of office to council members Alderks, Al-Kabra, Anguluri, and Miles. So if you'll step out there to the front here and I'll line you up to take your oath. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just going to be lined up right here. Mm-hmm.
He wants us to line
Just
up.
in a line, and then I'll do an I, state your name. Okay. Yeah, we're.
You want to hold this? Somebody has to hold it? No, I'll
Yeah.
hold it. So
Okay.
everybody- So that the
Are you
camera.
supposed to raise your right hand?
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. Raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Rami
Jenny
Al-Kabra,
Alderks,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the state of Washington
and the state of Washington
and ordinances of the city of Bothell,
and ordinances of the city of Bothell,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of city
that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of city
council member of the city of Bothell
council member of the city of Bothell
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll sign these over here.
Congratulations to all of you. We're going to now take a brief recess for a reception to honor our newly elected and returning council members, and we will reconvene in approximately 20 minutes at 6:25. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Next up is public comment. The city has accepted visitor comments in writing, as well as accepted sign-up sheets for those who wish to speak at tonight's meeting. Written comments submitted to the city clerk, me, no later than 3 p.m. today were forwarded to all city council members and are part of the record. So far, I've only received one written comment, and that was from Vivek Kaluri, congratulating council members, new and returning, and encouraging emphasis on community engagement. If there is anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak, please step to the podium, state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes. And we don't have anybody in the attendee room. Well, we have one person. Michael, in watching virtually, if you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function. I will panel you into the meeting. Anybody wish to speak? Nope. All right. Thank you very much. Turned off my mic. Next, we have reports. City Manager, do you have any report?
Thank you, City Clerk Hathaway. I'm going to keep it very brief tonight, but just in the interest of I was not at the last meeting of the year, I do want to do a quick thank you, and kind of in the spirit of the next item will be Agenda Bill 2026-001. That'll be your first formal item that you'll be taking on as a City Council. Just for context then, in 2025, there was 230 published formal items. That doesn't include just brief memos and that sort of a thing. And behind that is a lot of staff work that goes into producing. And in all of that staff work, there's 2 individuals in this room who are part and parcel to making sure that things get published and available for council. So our Deputy City Clerk, Amy Ross, and our City Clerk, Laura Hathaway, do week in and week out publish the agendas, review materials, get them loaded, and then develop minutes for every meeting too. So just a big thank you to them. And then for council members, as you look at tonight's agenda and you have just a couple of items, know that there's a few hundred more to come this year. So we're looking forward to it. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, City Clerk.
Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. Council, does anybody have anything they wish to report? All right, moving on. We are now at the election of the mayor and deputy mayor. Tonight's recommended action is to elect both positions for a 2-year term through December 31st, 2027. I will conduct the election for the mayor, and following that, I will hand it over to the newly elected mayor to conduct the deputy mayor election. So the process is as follows. I will open it for nominations, and each member of the city council is permitted to nominate one person, and nominations do not require a second. Once all nominations have been made, I will close the nominations. If there is only one nominee, the election will be conducted by a voice vote. If there is more than one nominee, the election will be by written ballot. Each ballot will contain your name, and we will collect those at the end. You have ballots in front of you right now. If we need to go another round, if there's a tie and we need to go another round, we're prepared for that. Once the mayor is elected again, I will turn the meeting over to the mayor, and we will conduct the election in the same manner for deputy mayor. With that, I will now call for nominations. Councilmember Curd.
Thanks. I'm nominating Councilmember Thompson for mayor because he knows how important it is to leave a legacy in this weird job that we have. Councilmember Thompson's vulnerability and willingness to testify to the Salary Commission at personal risk shows that he has future leaders of our city at heart. He's never shied away from a proclamation for a community, even he's not part of it himself. And while we all know that he's good at grandstanding every once in a while, he's always said what he means and acted with integrity. He may want to pursue higher office some other time, but for now, we're lucky to serve alongside him, and I hope he can impart leadership skills among the rest of us while we still have him here.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for mayor? Hearing none, please say yes or no when I call your name. Councilmember Anguluri.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson.
Yes.
Councilmember Alderks.
Yes.
Councilmember Curd.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Councilmember Al-Kabra.
Yes.
With that, we have a 7-0 vote for Mayor Thompson to as our new mayor for the next 2 years. And so you should be used to this, and I'm going to turn this over to you to conduct the election for the deputy mayor.
The only thing I know how to do is read the script you give me, Laura. But thank you. I just, to my colleagues, thank you so much. You all mean the world to me. I am really proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the last few years, and I'm really looking forward to what we can accomplish over the next 2 years. Just thank you. I appreciate you. And Councilmember Kurd, thank you for the very kind words. Next up is an election for deputy mayor. And I will now open the floor for nominations. And I see that Councilmember Al-Kabra has his light on.
Thank you, Mayor Thompson. It never gets old to call you Mayor Thompson. You're honorable, Your Highness, Mayor.
We've met. You can leave the honorable stuff.
I have never seen Laura as relieved as when she handed you over the paperwork. It's like, thank you, Mayor Thompson. And I just wanted to nominate Councilmember Alderks for deputy mayor. I've had the honor of serving as deputy mayor for the past 4 years across 2 terms. I believe it's important to share leadership and pass responsibility to others. Councilmember Alderks has consistently shown strong judgment, a collaborative approach, and deep commitment to this community, both on and off council. And for those reasons, I nominate Councilmember Alderks for deputy mayor.
All right. Seeing no other nominations, I'll pass it over to our city clerk. Who's our city clerk again?
Please say yes or no when I call your name. Councilmember Anguluri,
Yes.
Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember Alderks,
Yes.
Councilmember Kurd,
Yes.
Councilmember Miles,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember Al-Kabra.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Congratulations, Deputy Mayor Alderks.
Deputy Mayor, would you like to say a few words?
That is quite an experience. Thank you, former Deputy Mayor, for your service to the community and for all of the ways that you have shown up and cared for Bothell in the last 4 years. It means so much to me that you would be willing to pass the torch and entrust me, nominate me for this. And so I really do appreciate being able to serve with you, both before we were on council as just community organizers, and now serving together on council and for another term together too. So it means a lot. And I thank my colleagues also for unanimous support. It's very humbling, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity and look forward to continuing to serve our community together. Thank you.
May I take 90 seconds and just thank...
After I call on you, yes. It's okay. We're all going to mess up Deputy Mayor Alderks and Councilmember Al-Kabra like 14 times over the next month, so don't worry about it. But yes, Councilmember Anguluri.
Congratulations, Councilmember Thompson. Congratulations, Alderks. It's an honor to join the council. I just take 90 seconds. This is Prasad Anguluri. As you know, I have proudly called Bothell home for 19 years. I immigrated from India carrying a simple but powerful belief that no matter our backgrounds or cultures, we came from together through shared values, respect, and community. My wife has stood by me every step of this journey, and together we are raising 2 wonderful children right here in Bothell. This city is not just where we live, it's where our roots are and where our future is. So I came to this role with a simple vision, something I call space for everyone to thrive. S for safety and security, P for purposeful planning and spending, A for affordable housing, C for connected communities, and E for equity and economic vitality. With all the team we have right now, we definitely can make it. I'm incredibly honored and excited to join this family of brothers and sisters on the Bothell City Council along with the city staff. We may come from different backgrounds, but we are aligned in our commitment to serve this community with integrity and heart. I would love to be part of repurposing the Wayne Park over the coming months and years, creating a shared space that serves Bothell and our neighboring cities, where families connect, communities grow, and future generations thrive. I promise to do my very best to make Bothell better, stronger, and more beautiful for every business, for every resident that come from, not just for our residents, it also partnership for our neighboring cities, because we share so much together. Let's build communities that are stronger, smarter, most importantly united, no matter what. Thank you so much for the opportunity that was given by all the residents, and let's rock Bothell and beyond. Thank you so much.
And I just want to jump in and thank Councilmember Al-Kabra. I really appreciate you passing the torch, and I have learned a lot from you. I have so much respect for just who you are and how you do this. So thank you. I appreciate you. With that said, we are going to go to Agenda Bill 26002, consideration of 2026-2027 Council Committee assignments. City Manager? Oh, it's a study. Oh, it's,
And we'll be able to, we'll be able
Sorry.
to talk to each other face to face.
Sorry, it's my first day.
You've only done this 4 years.
All right, let's do this again from down here in the appropriate place now. We have a consideration of council committee assignments, and I can tell you the agenda bill, it's 26002.
Just off the top of your
City
head.
Manager,
It's
yes.
impressive, no script needed. Well, good evening, Mayor Thompson, Deputy Mayor Alderks, and members of the City Council. So tonight is an opportunity to start with the organization of how you want to be spending your time this year. And so there's, tonight the intention is to walk through the different opportunities for committee assignments. Some of them are internal committees, and just a reminder, anything that's internal you control. And so if you don't want to have one, you don't have to meet. If you do want to meet, you can. And then there's also regional committees. There's also some committees that are specific to mayors, and so that makes it a little easier to determine an assignment, but sometimes there might be a backup. Tonight, and then the goal is to start a conversation about interest, and we will be bringing back an opportunity. You'll get to vote again next week and be able to vote on positions. So there's a few things just to orient as before we turn it back over to council to walk through. And what I'll note is that our city clerk has provided a matrix that has, this is all in your packet. This has all of the committees in it, but also very handy scoring tool. So if you're trying to track of who has interest, and where that can be helpful too is also maybe even for yourself. I know sometimes I'm the type of person that by page 2 I realize I've bitten off more interest than I have. So being able to kind of keep track of is there a good spread for time? Your time is very valuable, and so maybe making sure that the committees are evenly distributed. But that'll also give you an opportunity to think about it through for next week about who you would want to appoint as the people on there. So that's something. Also, just as a note before I don't mention it, in your packet, the published packet, we did miss a committee that is new this year, and that is for a regional coalition for affordable housing. That organization is an organization we're a member of. There's several East Side cities that are part of it, and over the last year, as staff, I serve on the board, the executive board for Arch. There's been some feedback from some cities of wanting additional council participation. So this year there will be a pilot of 1 year having organization meetings of one council member per agency and really talking about some of the policy work and maybe some things too that collectively there would be an advocacy roll down in Olympia during legislative sessions. So that's an opportunity. And again, as a pilot, there's a lot of room to shape how that one's going to go. So some of these committees, there's established dates, times, all that good stuff. The Arch one will be really, as you participate, you'll be crafting how does that group work. The other thing that I was asked to share up front, and it probably got 99% easier already, but one of the committees that is on here is the East Side Transportation Partnership, or ETP. We'll talk about that in a bit. They have some work that carried over from 2025, which is voting on a federal legislative agenda, and that's taking place on Friday. The council spoke about this earlier in December about the legislative or the federal agenda, so it's been discussed. Because they need voting members by this Friday, it's really up to you, but I would suggest, considering there's been previous conversations, your previous representatives were Mayor Thompson and Deputy Mayor Alderks. I'm going to keep practicing. And so what we would suggest is that ahead of the vote, if they're available, they would still be the representatives for it. Administratively, the other thing though too is there's no signature or anything, so it really is a vote. The city's name is either listed or not listed. So by taking no action, the assumption would be is that the council supports that agenda. Otherwise, there are 4 questions up on the screen too that we'll want to make sure we cover. That is, does the council wish to reinstate the Public Safety Committee? So that is an internal committee. Happy to talk more about that as we get to it. But essentially, 2 years ago, I think when we were looking for how many people were interested, the answer was like 6, if not 7. So internal committees, a big purpose for that is to save time on Tuesday nights. So the whole purpose is just to have additional conversations that don't take up this agenda. But if everybody's interested in something, there's always the option of saying any content that would go to that type of a meeting, please bring it to the council. The second one is concerning of the Arch pilot. Again, it's a pilot, it's a test. If there's no interest, no harm, no foul. But if there is, we'll be looking for an appointee, and Laura has added that to the list that's in front of you, so we won't miss it. The third is, does the council wish to appoint a primary and alternative representative to the council to attend the Cascadia College President's Advisory Council? Mayor Thompson will be able to speak more to that group. It was something that was formed about 18 months ago, and originally the invitation went to the mayor and the city manager. The city manager's observation has been every other city sends only elected officials, and it is always my great prerogative to allow elected officials to talk to elected officials. So Mayor Thompson can fill you in more on that, especially if you would like to appoint an alternate. I'm always happy to attend. They do start at 7:45 a.m., which is not everybody's cup of tea. So, but I do think it would be a great opportunity for council. And then the fourth piece, and this might be a broader conversation than we even get into tonight, but I think it'll be a great opportunity for this new council in your first meeting to begin exploring what you wish the future to look like. But the city of Bothell is one of several members of the Sound Cities Association. Currently, all cities in King County under the size of 250,000 population are members I'll help anyone out watching at home. That means every city but one. You have to figure out which one is not. Might be Seattle. And but there has been a conversation amongst council about just in terms of use of time and what the benefit of participation has been. So that was something that was teed up, but decided to wait for this council to decide. Again, no decision needs to be made tonight. In fact, really the process of that is we will receive an invoice soon, and sometime in February, if we're intending to participate, we should pay that invoice. If there's any other action the council would like to consider, again, we can begin that conversation tonight and continue it forward. So with that, I'm going to pause. I think what would be helpful is to let's start on page 1 and kind of go line by line. And Laura and I are happy to move us through the list, but I think y'all are also pretty capable too and do a great job of talking with each other. So I'll just note that the first one on there is the left one board, and see where you'd like to proceed.
City Manager, I'm wondering if for the benefit of our new members, we could give some additional information around like acronyms and descriptions of each of the boards.
I can. So this is stands for Law Enforcement Officer Board, and it's someday we will not have this on the list anymore because it's a pension system of where you had to have joined it for many, many years ago. So many of the people who are members of Left One are no longer covered. But until there is a statutory requirement to have a board that meets, I think, at least once a year. Once upon a time in my career, strangely, I was the treasurer of a left board. So that's my main experience. And I'm not sure how often ours meets, Laura.
Second Wednesday of the month as needed. So the staff liaison would, if it's needed, contact whoever serves on this board to convene them.
It's generally speaking, the meeting, I participated in a 4-minute meeting once, but a big part of the responsibility of the board is making sure that it's still financially solvent. So it's going to be looking at a financial statement.
I can volunteer, I guess. Wait, I want to see if it conflicts with another one I really care about.
You're not committing tonight.
I think that's when we get to start haggling.
Oh,
So say what you're interested in, and then we might do exchanges later.
I really would love to do the NPRSA, which is 6:30. And this one is as needed. Second Wednesday, that's the third Wednesday. There's no conflict.
Okay.
I'd like to volunteer for this.
For the left one?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm willing to be an alternate.
I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to do this one as well. I don't feel strongly about it, but if we need a second person.
I don't either.
Oh, did you say you wanted to do this?
No,
Oh, you
I
said-
put it,
oh.
but I'm not.
Oh,
I'm putting my
take it.
name in.
I mean-
you know, so we have.
I'm not competing for this. Let me be clear.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
This is the first time we compete in giving away stuff, which is crazy.
I think what will be helpful is then when you get the totality of it, and again, be able to reflect, when you come back next week, you might put your hand down, and that's okay too.
It's sort of like a white elephant. If you're the first one to pick, then you also get to exchange it at the end.
Yeah, I think if we just go through each one by one, and you just let us know if you're interested, and then we'll come back, whether you want to be a member or an alternate, and then next week we'll come back and we'll take the vote.
And certainly have some discussion though too. So for those of you who have served on these, it would be helpful. And I know not all of them, we have somebody at the table who has done it. The second one is the Human Services Committee. And again, this is an internal committee of the council. The primary purpose of the Human Services Committee is to make recommendations, bringing it back to the full council. So the committees don't make final decisions in this case, but primarily on human services grant and contract funding. And I will say that we've certainly seen over the last 4 years that the Human Services Committee, there's been other topics of interest. But again, the primary purpose is going to be on making recommendations of how to distribute grant funding and contract funding. And we do have experienced representatives here who could probably add more commentary.
Sure. I have enjoyed serving on the Human Services Committee. We work very closely with our Human Services Coordinator, Anand, and he does a great job leading the meetings, especially with our Assistant City Manager, Becky Range. We've talked about grants. We've talked about, most recently, the contract with YMCA for the behavioral health support services in the community. And while I really enjoy serving on that committee and am willing to continue serving, I also want to share it with my colleagues if there's anybody else who's interested.
And just to add, I think what's coming up, which I wasn't planning to speak to, so please keep me honest, both of you. I think we've talked about opioid settlement money, and then our human services grants are on a 2-year cycle as well. And same, I enjoy serving on the committee, but I'm happy to let someone with an interest step in as well. So, yeah.
The third thing we were going to discuss is the $8 per capita possibly updating that to increase the grants. Is that
Yeah,
what you
because
meant?
historically we had $8 per capita for human services spending, which wasn't tagged with, going up with inflation or anything. So I think we tied that to inflation now, but then I think there's some evaluation on whether, where the $8 came from and if that's the correct amount, so. So who wants to do it?
I'm interested.
I can continue.
I can't always make the meetings, so I'm willing to step aside.
Well, it's
Councilmember
3
Al-Kabra.
plus 1
Yeah.
alternate, so it's fine. I can be a main or an alternate, and then we can.
How about you for the main? I'll be the alternate.
Okay, that's
Okay.
good.
I'm trying to make Laura's life easier, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any others for Human Services Committee? All right, so the next on the list is the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. And if you've ever rented a car or stayed in a hotel and looked at your bill when you thought you were going to pay a certain amount and you pay
didn't
more.
say the second word.
What?
Hotel.
Sorry, hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. If you've stayed at one of those, apologies. If you were the deputy mayor, I would have done it. So there is funding that then comes to cities through that line item. That revenue is then restricted to paying for things that would bring in additional tourism money. So it kind of goes like for like. The general rule of thumb is it would need to be spent on something that arguably would attract people from 50 miles away to come to Bothell. Heads and beds tax, you might think of it as. Statutorily, this group meets 4 times a year, and so that has generally then laid out to be a quarterly meeting. And then it's also, interestingly enough, you would be, if you're the participant of this, it comes with 2 prizes. One is that it is made up of a diverse group of people. It's not just going to be council. So by state law, there would also be 2 members of a 7-person committee who represent businesses that are required to collect this tax, and then 2 members of people involved in activities authorized to be funded or supported by the revenues. The second fun thing that comes with this is, as the only council member on this committee, you are by default the chair of the LTAC committee. So you walk into your first meeting running the show, and there will be help, of course. So we do not have a returning member of this one, but I think we've heard updates from LTAC in the past, and there might be some interest.
I can be added.
I would like to be considered for it as well.
So is it in person? It says quarterly, third Tuesday, 10 a.m. City Hall.
Correct, yes. I see confirmation from our Parks and Recreation Director.
Yes, that's fine. Yes, that's fine.
I'm sorry, did anybody express interest in being alternate? No, okay,
1 and 7.
okay.
Oh, is there an alternate?
There is,
Yeah, there's one appointment and an alternate.
we'll discuss it
They can talk it through in the week.
Okay, thank you.
at the restaurant.
All right. Anticipation. So for the third one, again, this I mentioned in the opening, the Public Safety Committee. And this is a committee that I will say, if chosen to reinstate, probably the first meeting will be to scope out the concrete purpose for it. And I think that is a great conversation in and of itself, and we'll bring that back to council. Whereas the Human Services Committee, there was actually legislation passed that says this is what it does. The Public Safety Committee doesn't have that. So that would be something. And again, the main reason that this was suspended last time is that pretty much the entirety of council was interested in having the discussion. So we brought things here. I would say that there are a number of things that are coming to council that would potentially go to this committee and certainly come to the full council, including what the future of Bothell Fire looks like. That's an item that I think the Public Safety Committee would definitely be taking a first review of and giving input to staff, and then also a number of policy implementations for the police department. With that, then we would be looking for if you would be interested. I will also say we'll get more into this at the first meeting. But we also, not only do we have the Bothell Fire Department that serves the city of Bothell, but we also have a station that is operated by Fire District 10, or operated by Bothell Fire, but owned by Fire District 10. And so in our agreement with Fire District 10, which provides funding for about 17 of our firefighter positions, we have an agreement with them of that there's an annual meeting in September, of which there's 2 representatives from council. There's 2 representatives from their board, of which there's a total of 3. All 3 normally show up. We have 3 people on the Public Safety Committee. So you can also look forward to a joint meeting in September. So with that, we'll be looking for consensus of council on whether or not you would want to have it continue, or to reinstate it, or bring items just straight to council, and then also if you would be interested in serving.
I wanted to jump in. So I served on this at its last iteration with Councilmembers Mankey and Zorns. And I've also experienced the last couple of years of not having it. And I do not think that we get to the same level of depth in our council meetings that we did in this committee. And some of the topics that we need to discuss really could use that depth. So I would want to encourage us to really consider reinstating it and making 3 appointments. And if that means we vote to pick someone, I don't think that's a bad thing. I just really have been kind of alarmed that we don't have a subcommittee getting into these topics, because they do affect people just at tough points of their lives, and we need to really put thought into our public safety for that reason. So that's my pitch.
I think that's a great point, Councilmember Dodd, that it's a further in-depth conversation when it's smaller. I also there's a lot of curiosity in our community about what's next on fire. And that conversation needs to be held in the open and very transparently. So while I don't know if a subcommittee would garner as much like transparency and attention, but if it is a subcommittee, I would encourage it to be recorded and available for viewing later on YouTube, because those conversations that happen there are ones that have will have extreme impact on our community in terms of finance and public safety. So just encourage transparency whichever way we go.
I agree with both Councilmembers Dodd and Kurd. I wasn't sure what I thought until you made a case, and I was like, yes, that makes sense. And I think that we should have the fire conversation at council.
Are we having the committee or no?
Yes.
Committee? So we're having committee, but then we're going to have a deeper
For
discussion.
one subject.
Yeah, and certainly, again, no decisions are made in these subcommittees, and so anything would come back to council, I think, where Councilmember Dodd was reflecting on my experience is your experience. Those were the meetings that I attended as well. And oftentimes it's about a month before items are coming to council. It's sort of like a dress rehearsal with conversation and feedback as we go through of how are we looking at things and thinking of the future of fire, for example. Again, at one point there was about 8 options on the table that we're being able to consider, and the council got it narrowed down to 1. But I think so at a committee, there'd be some of the nuances of thinking about what the governance would look like and everything. And then hearing the request for transparency, I think the 3 people who serve on this could commit to providing updates, and then also when we come back as staff and give presentations to council, we can give a good summary of what took place in those meetings. But I hear the request for recording too, and so if that, I haven't heard anybody disagree with recording them, so we can figure that out.
So who wants to be on it?
I'm happy to be on it. I enjoyed the chance to deep dive, but again, it's not a do or die committee for me, so please speak up. And it would be 3 of us, so.
Technically 4 with an alternate. Yep. I had previously, before Councilmember Dodd served on this committee, I had to, and it just ended up being that there was enough interest in this committee that we ended up making it a council conversation instead of a subcommittee. And so I know it's TBD, so this would be a committee that could work around different schedules. But I would actually be happy to share this with others, knowing that we still need a majority of council to serve on it. So interested, maybe as the alternate, I'd step forward that way.
It seems we won the committee, but we don't want to volunteer on it.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe we should reevaluate our first question. If nobody wants to be on the committee, maybe we should just have the discussions happen at council.
Well, again, and you're not committing yourself, so next week, be reflective of it
Okay.
and think about it for next week.
Councilmember Dodd, were there things that maybe the way that questions were asked or the way that presentations were prepared in the committee that could be transcreated for a wider audience that would be more helpful? Were there any systemic or structural changes that you would have made to the committee to make it more helpful as council?
I can reflect on that and come back with some thoughts.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to turn things over to the city clerk for this next one.
Thank you. The last couple of rounds that yearly appointments for board and commissions, we've had quite a very large number of interested applicants. So the last 2 years, we've actually had a council appointed a subcommittee to look at the number of applications and make recommendations to the full council as to who to move forward to interview. So anticipating that again, I was wondering if tonight or, anybody wants to express interest in appointing that, expressing interest tonight and appointing a subcommittee to review the applications when we get them all. They'll close mid-February, late February, to move forward those recommendations to the full council for interviews. And because we recruit annually for boards and commissions, this one would be an annual, like we do it at the beginning of the meeting, at the first meeting of the year, to set that subcommittee. So we're not doing that last minute. So is everybody interested in doing that? And if so, this would require 3 appointments.
I have enjoyed serving on that before, and I always love seeing who in our community is interested in serving. I'd be happy to serve on this, and I think it's a really good idea because it saves a significant amount of time.
Completely ditto and volunteering.
Okay.
I can go too.
Great. Thank you.
So we're now turning the page literally and moving into regional meetings. And so these are ones where there's a lot more to coordinate and a lot less of our control. And I will also say This is one where you could stump the city manager because these are meetings that you as council members go to and I do not. So we'll do our best to explain them, but we also have staff in the room that can help that might be able to speak to some of the staff report. The first one on the list is the Association of Snohomish County Cities and Towns. And this is definitely one where there's probably some blanks in my knowledge. But what I will say is I've learned more about it recently in that I believe there is what I understand it is, while there's one informal appointment, I think that's kind of a legacy of trying to make sure that we have somebody at the meetings to be able to know what's happening and report back. From what I understand, and probably this corner of the table will be able to speak to it better too, is that there is an organizing meeting similar to this one, but maybe a little maybe not as organized. No, that where as many people who are elected officials in Snohomish County and our member cities come get a vote. So it's not sometimes each organization gets one vote. In this case, it sounds like it's each attendee. So if all 7 of you went, all 7 of you would have a vote. If one of you goes, one of you would have a vote. And that is one where then they pick committee assignments. So that one sounds like it's a little weightier than others. That's my impression. We've been doing some research, Laura and I have been doing some research of trying to find how any of that has come to be. And we have not hit the golden ticket yet, but we are reaching out to other cities, and Laura has contacted her colleagues about apparently there should be resolutions and that sort of thing. And so we're not finding a lot, but that gives us a project for 2026. In the meantime, you do have an opportunity to pick somebody who is your primary point of contact, and I definitely would love to hear from people who have attended these meetings of what you would encourage your colleagues to do or not do.
I will just kind of confirm and elaborate. The first meeting every year, everybody who is an elected official and shows up gets to vote to appoint people to, there's a couple of PSRC boards and committees, there's county level commissions, there's a seat on the Snohomish County Transportation Coalition Board. So it somehow has the authority to put people on boards that do have consequences. So hopefully when you get the email about this, you can make it, because that's important. The rest of the year, it is more of a dinner and learn situation and networking. So sometimes there's been like World Cup briefings. They've had city finance department consultants show up and speak. They had a Port of Edmonds guy come and talk, who also used to work for Homeland Security. It's sort of whoever is running it that year finds speakers. So I would encourage everybody to go to that first meeting, and I have no opinion on if you go to the other ones.
And for the record, the dinner is fantastic.
Yeah, it can be a very enjoyable experience in terms of what you can learn about. I know that upcoming presentations include immigration and the crisis continuum of care in Snohomish County. So there's some interesting presentations that happen there. Dinner's good, company's good. Highly recommend.
Sounds like the SCA version of Snohomish County.
Although
Hold that thought, because there's actually another that it's a SCA of Snohomish County.
Oh, I see.
I was
Okay.
going to say SCA, we get one vote, though, is my understanding.
I didn't mean
Yeah.
the technical, logistical thing, but it's like in general, at the high level.
It gets better.
Just wait, it gets even more confusing.
But I don't think we need a formal person appointed to this, honestly, since we all get the invites and it's open to everyone.
Great.
And for the new folks, because I paid for this for a while, have Catherine book you, because the city will pay for your dinner. You don't have to pay for your dinner.
Absolutely. If you're representing the city as a city council member, always talk to Catherine. All right. Next up is the North King County Coalition on Homelessness, and we're gonna go over into the wings and bring in Assistant City Manager Becky Range.
Thank you, City Manager Stanner. Yes, the North King County Coalition on Homelessness is a really fantastic group of people. It's made up of a good mix of city staff from cities on the north side, city elected officials, and also nonprofits or human services advocates. And anyone can also jump in that's been already attending these meetings. But they do meet quite often, and they talk about how to provide services and support for people that are either experiencing homelessness or may be experiencing homelessness soon. And so it's a very positive and collaborative group.
I have really enjoyed serving on the Coalition on Homelessness for the last 4 years. But it is right in the middle of my workday and not necessarily on my lunch. So I'd be happy to share this with somebody else. It's, like Becky said, it's been really collaborative. We talk about seasonal shelter, emergency response for the unhoused in our community. We've worked very closely with KCRHA, so this is a really great place to stay informed on regional homelessness efforts for King County. I believe it's the third Thursday at 1 p.m. every month.
Thursday, 1 p.m.
Yeah.
I can share or be alternative, Jenny. Councilmember Alderks.
So you can be alternative, or you want to be the main? Jenny, you're doing it, or no?
However,
If somebody wanted to take it, I would continue as the alternate. Do you want to do that? Okay, I'll be the alternate.
All right. As Councilmember Al-Kabra was saying, it sounds like there might be a Snohomish County version of SCA. And so what is closed? And honestly, I think I'll confess on camera, I think it was like 2 years in that I realized these were two different groups. So you're ahead of me.
Why have one organization when you can have two?
That's right. Snohomish County tomorrow is similar, but not the same to the Sound Cities Association. Not only just because of the county designation, there's no size limit for this one, for example, but it's made up of 19 cities in Snohomish County, as well as representatives from the Tulalip tribes. It's made up of 6 committees. The one that is on the table tonight is the steering committee, which is made up of exclusively of elected officials and a representative from the tribes. There are also, there's a community advisory board made up of residents of Snohomish County. There's an executive committee, which is a subset of the steering committee, not to make it more confusing. There's an infrastructure coordinating committee that includes the utility districts that are a part of Snohomish County as well. There's a managers and administrators group, which includes me, and then a planning advisory committee, of which Jason Greenspan, our community development director, is the primary representative. To make it really descriptive, I will say the primary purpose, this is right from Snohomish County Tomorrow, is to oversee the county-wide planning policies, what are those? They're written policies used for the purpose of establishing a framework county-wide from which county and the city's comprehensive plans are developed. So we just got through a comprehensive plan process in 2024. This is a group that I've attended 2 years in a row now, dinners with a few of our council members. This year I was joined by Deputy Mayor and Councilmember Curd and Councilmember Dodd, where they are talking about broadening their structure. So there is that will be a conversation of the steering committee is what should the scope be. One key difference, though, that it gets talked about a lot in those meetings, but I would emphasize that does make it different than Sound Cities Association, which we're discussing. This is an organization that is part of Snohomish County government, and the person who leads it is a county employee, as opposed to Sound Cities Association, which we will talk about here in a little bit, which is a separate legal entity that has been formed, paid for by cities. So they have kind of a different relationship that because this is part of the county government, there's support from the county, there's an umbrella, whereas SCA ends up being more of an advocacy group to the county. So it's a nuanced distinction, but for those who haven't heard of either of these before, you can imagine then that it's the formal relationship being part of a larger umbrella organization is much different than being purposely separated from it. So hopefully that helps, but we do also have some individuals who have thought a lot about the Snohomish County Tomorrow group as well that can answer questions.
I have started attending this last year since becoming a Snohomish County resident. And one of the things that Councilmember Dodd kind of clued me into is this sort of idea of broadening the scope of this. That's the conversation that's being had at SCT, Snohomish County tomorrow. And I think that we need to be very wary of scope creep of these types of organizations that might not have every jurisdiction's best interest at heart. And so we have sent a very strongly worded letter also last year on council to the executive committee. And I think that we need to have a presence here. I'm interested insofar as to be a body there, whether that's alternate or primary, but we need to stay on top of this even though it's not immensely fun.
It is all yours. I have a kind of a conflicting meeting, so if anyone wants to be the alternate for Councilmember Kurd, it would be a great way to jump in. If not, I will be the alternate, but I won't be a very good one.
Back in the day, I was alternate for this, and it's my experience is mostly on Zoom with presentations from regional organizations.
Always
and so
Zoom,
it can be very informative, but also very dry.
Yeah, it's once a year dinner that we can all go to, and then Zoom once a month the rest of the year.
I can be an alternate. Not hearing anybody else raise their hands.
All right, so the next page at the top is the Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee. And so this does bring us into the conversation about Sound Cities Association overall. Councilmember Kurd, as the person who has been the representative in the last term, do you want to speak to any of it and open up the conversation, or do you want to shoot it back to me?
I can break the ice here. I have been serving on we call it the PIC, Public Issues Committee. So SCA, the Sound Cities Association, is somewhat of a lobbying special interest group, as City Manager Stannert mentioned. And our interest as being a city with partial jurisdiction in King County is that we're fairly small, but there are also many other small cities in King County. So the Public Issues Committee meets monthly to discuss issues with some tangential connection to city governance sometimes. Candidly, I don't know if the pros of participating in this committee as a city outweigh possible risks for being part of the Sound Cities Association. The PIC, for example, has had presentations on nuclear nonproliferation. They've had conversations about utility costs. They've had conversations about immigration reform, things that are tangentially related to city governance. Yeah, I think that the Public Issues Committee has previously, during a different era of Sound Cities Association, where regional collaboration was a different sort of flavor and different a response to different crises of the times, was really critical, and now it may have exhausted its use. I will say that being part of the PIC, they have different caucuses around the region, around the county. We fall into the East Side Caucus, despite being in the northern part of the county. Individuals are selected and voted on from each caucus group region, and then those people are part of the nominating committee. And so this is where sort of the concentration of power in regional groups is focused. There's a really, whereas in Snohomish County, the regional appointments to all these different committees, PSRC, Sound Transit, various other boards and committees around the Sound, not just the county. Sound Cities Association gets a seat at that table, and so the PIC votes on who gets nominated. So I have found it to be difficult to participate on those nominating calls because PIC has a set of guidelines and rules by which they have committed to choose who should be nominated, and they repeatedly do not follow those rules either. So it doesn't sound like the Sound Cities Association really understands the role of the Public Issues Committee at this time, and I don't know if there's really a huge benefit in being part of it. That's where I'll leave it.
So Councilmember Curd, so there is no ROI on this in your estimation?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I don't, it hasn't felt like our membership in the Sound Cities Association is worth it. I found out through our agenda bill or agenda packet, it's $25,000 a year. This is an invitation to convince me of the point, which I'm not looking at you for, but you also were on the board, and I would love to hear your opinion, Mayor Thompson.
I was on the Sound Cities Association board up until a couple months ago when I stepped down. To me, the value in Sound Cities Association to Bothell is appointments to regional committees through PIC. And the PIC, I know that it's correct, but it sounds like I can't say it. I have served on various boards and committees over the years through that process, and the nominating process happens in like November, December, like it just happened basically. Did anybody apply to be on an SCA board? I didn't. So.
Has anyone been selected to be on an SCA board after applying ever in our city?
I have.
I have. Yeah, I was on the Domestic Violence Task Force for a couple of years.
I was on the GMPB Growth Management Planning Board, and I was an alternate on the executive board through Sound Cities Association. Especially because the time has already passed for what I see the majority of the value in, I don't see value here. I don't see ROI. So I'm not interested in serving on this committee. I can also say that Sound Cities Association is shifting its focus mostly to lobbying King County instead of the state. And we border no unincorporated King County, and we have much less nexus and work with King County than a lot of the cities do. I also don't feel any particular need to lobby my employer. But I don't see the value for Bothell in Sound Cities Association at this time.
Just one last question, Mayor Thompson. What would our other fellow northern cities think about us leaving? Would they care?
No.
Okay.
I'll just say I'm unable to attend these meetings due to prior commitments to my family, so I would want to send it to somebody else anyway.
Same. But can I ask a question? If we decide, I know next week we will, but if we decide to leave, can we come back, or how does the process work?
I mean, I think for next week, it might be good to get some more formal direction on what you would like to do. Yeah, we would not become ineligible to be members. again, not like I can speak from personal history of having worked for a city that did step away from SCA for a time and rejoined. I think there is a vote of the board then of whether or not to bring people back on. I believe I'd have to confirm that, but I certainly don't think that there's a lock and key. So there's a possibility. I suspect that representatives from the Sound Cities Association would want to speak to you about the decision, and then that would be up to you on whether or not you want to give time from your agenda to do such a thing as well.
I can confirm that.
So you're looking for direction for next week? Is that what you're doing?
What I'm hearing is I think we should probably draft something that talks about, like, maybe a staff recommendation on how to notify Sound Cities Association of an intent to leave, and then you can change your mind if you'd like to. But I'm not hearing any strong sentiment of participation for 2026.
We've had a few months since this came up, and I don't think anybody changed their mind. So
No, so we'll bring something that would accomplish that.
And I believe that a representative from SCA reached out to us and offered to meet. And so if that's something that the mayor and I could do together, we could have that conversation.
We can do that.
Cool.
All right. So next up, I feel like kicking it over to Councilmember Curd, and I will say, so RIA 8 is a group that does look at the implementation of science-based Chinook salmon conservation. So it's a good one. It meets every third Thursday of every other month. And again, Councilmember Curd has been the representative, and if you'd like to say a few words or express interest.
Sure, yeah. Well, RIA 8 is the watershed that we live in. They are numbered throughout the state, and RIA 8 just means that it's the Cedar River down near Renton, and it also includes Issaquah Creek in Issaquah, flowing into Lake Sammamish, the Sammamish River, and all of its tributaries, of which we have a couple here in Bothell, like North Creek, Little Bear Creek, and Swamp Creek. And so salmon aren't doing so hot for a variety of different reasons. One of the reasons is because we live here too, and we've taken up a lot of land. And so RIA 8's goal is to recover Chinook salmon, which are food for orca and a keystone species for our environment. They bring in nutrients from the ocean and help sustain our forests. So they're really important to our culture and to our environment here. RIA 8 is important because it directs funding resources to projects that intend to restore salmon habitat. The city of Bothell has applied for funding through RIA 8. There are a number of different nonprofits that are run by community members here in Bothell and that operate here in Bothell, whether through school age and youth inclusion in restoration of the environment or education, all the way to planting and restoring habitat in our waters. So it's been really fun to be a part of this. I am in a leadership position at RIA 8 as part of this appointment that happened last year. So I am still interested in returning. But yeah, it's been really fun to learn more about how important salmon are to not just our own community, but the communities around us, and how we play an important part as a city that's downstream of others that are doing good work. And we're really taking up the mantle here at the city. So I will express interest and here for questions too.
I can be alternative. So we just need one primary and one alternative. Is that right? I can be alternative.
All right, next up is a group that meets once a year, the Regional Crisis Response Agency, or RACER, Principals Assembly. Racer is an organization that we are a part of. We are one of 5 cities, and we are then the principal cities because we are part of it. There's a monthly executive board meeting of which I'm the executive board member for Bothell. The Principals Assembly then is bringing together one elected official from each of the 5 cities to have a convening to go over financial management, the program work, hear a little bit more about the performance and results, and are able to answer questions or ask questions. The annual meeting typically takes place in June, which is also a celebration of the anniversary of the formation of the organization. I'll also note that for this year's Principals Assembly, I don't see anything changing here, but one of the milestones for 2026 is that it gets us past the third year of participation in the ILA that we've formed. All 5 cities committed to not leaving unless there was some sort of extenuating circumstance within those first 3 years to see how it's going. That is up. Again, I haven't heard anything that would suggest any cities are leaving, but that'll be a milestone for this June. And it's also an open public meeting, so anyone can attend. However, if you would like to be the city's official representative, this is the opportunity.
I have enjoyed participating in this through its formation and also the transition from quarterly to yearly?
Close, yes. The first year in the interlocal agreement, it meant 3 times in the first year. For quarterly would have been a lot cleaner. But I think the first quarter of its existence, we didn't have a meeting. That might be the right rationale.
It started that time.
Yeah.
There was a meeting every quarter after that. And it's really an enjoyable opportunity. Have these been meeting Wednesdays? Is that correct?
Yeah, they've typically pulled for Wednesdays. I think when you take Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, of which our member cities have council meetings, it leaves Wednesdays and Fridays. And you can imagine that Wednesday evenings are more enjoyable for people than Friday evenings. But
yeah, and because of that, previous family commitments on Wednesday evenings, I would be interested to be an alternate if I'm needed, but be happy to share this with others on council.
I'd be happy to swap with you since I was your alternate too. I like going and it's helpful.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say this would be of interest to me because it's near and dear to my heart.
I'll step back too. Wednesdays are supposed to be my free night and I don't honor that very often, so go for it.
I'm lonely, so it's okay.
Okay. Maybe I'll go with you.
Councilmember Dodd, would you like to be the alternate?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I will pass the torch.
Okay. You can leave it in my inbox.
Okay. It'll be a tiny pin.
So on the next page, we get to my favorite acronym of a regional committee that I've been part of. It's actually second favorite, MSWAC. My favorite is the MSWAC SWAC, which is a subcommittee of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee of the Metropolitan Solid Waste Advisory Committee. It's made up of elected officials and staff, and the purpose is to advise King County, the executive and council on all matters related to solid waste management issues in the county. This is one I believe that Councilmember Alderks has been serving on. It is very technical. Like, I wouldn't be the person that would represent. So we also have 2 staff members who are appointed to this as alternates, our Public Works Director, Aaron Lenhart, as well as Emily Warnock from our Public Works Department, who do attend and would attend if there's a council representative as well. But I think there are some meetings where it's very, very helpful to have an elected official, and then there are some meetings where delegating to staff is your great prerogative. But Deputy Mayor Alderks, excuse me, is there anything you'd like to add?
In my experience, there was very rare opportunities for council members to really participate, and it was very much a lot of technical information getting presented. I was excited to be a part of it because one of my nerdy interests is how to reduce waste and get to zero waste in communities. And that was not a conversation that came up very often. And so my recommendation is to be very appreciative to the staff who attends this on our behalf, unless you are very excited about participating.
Councilmember Alderks, is there? No, gosh. I'm so sorry. Deputy Mayor Alderks, is there any sort of policy directives that are talking about the twilight era of Cedar Hills landfill? Is that something that there's an opportunity, that you see an opportunity in the upcoming 2-year cycle?
I'm going to call for staff on this one.
Great.
Phone a friend.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. So MSWAC will be having discussions in the coming year about long-term disposal options for solid waste, as the landfill, as you mentioned, Councilmember, is coming to the end of its life, as it has been for the past 40 years or so. So they keep finding a little more space. So that's one of the conversations that will be had, and would be good to have an elected official that we can kind of call on to pull in to provide some weight. They also address or evaluate the solid waste rates that come out of the county that would affect ultimately our customers. I think the other thing, there was one other, the long-term solid waste, I think it's comprehensive plan, I think is on the docket for review in the coming year too. It's really fascinating stuff, Mayor. I can see you're just
No, it's like everybody has a plan. There's a plan. There's a sub-plan. They go up into the other plans. Yes.
Precisely. Yeah. So, yeah, but I do think those long-term disposal options, as they talk about, whether it's, railing to somewhere else, or if it's, they've had conversations before about whether it's burning for energy or that sort of thing. There's a lot of conversations that have been recycled again and again over the years, so to speak. And I think they're also going to, I'm here all week. I think they'll also be talking about, because a few years ago they started the RePlus program, the sustainability program at King County. And I think they'll be having conversations about how that's going and if there's any new direction that the group would like to see or the county would like to pursue. Hope that helps.
Thanks.
It's all yours if you want.
Thanks for that context. I am unfortunately really interested in this type of thing. I think that the deputy mayor and I have a problem, but yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
The next one, I'll have more stuff to say about that, but for now, I'll put my interest in the hat for Ms. Wack. Thank you.
That's right. Bring us t-shirts. So the next one is King County Cities Climate Collaboration, which is a networking of cities that have signed on within King County to try and align climate goals. In December, we got an update with the changeover in executive. We'd learned that the staffing positions related to this at King County had been eliminated, and there were some initial questions. Fortunately, clarity has started to emerge, and actually, while we weren't really sure if there was going to be a rebirth or what was happening, what we did find out first was that the interlocal agreements were remaining. We were still participating. There would still be the council committees. It was a matter of, and how would this go? And then subsequent to that, an announcement has been made too that the positions who had been in the executive office directly and are now being redistributed within into King County Department of Natural Resources and Parks, King County Metro, and the Department of Executive Services. So it's really spreading out into different portions of the county and a redistribution and some reimagining of the positions. But there will be climate positions that will support K4C. So this work is, sounds like it's going to be continuing, but we are still monitoring in case a letter from the council would be helpful. So with that, there's still a purpose to appoint a main representative or primary and an alternate if there's interest.
I'm going to be stepping back from this committee this time. I will note that this year, one of the cool things about it was that we met bi-weekly, every other week during the legislative session to talk about bills that were relevant to cities and climate work. I thought joining this committee, we'd be talking a lot more about our climate action plan and sharing resources. And I think what I didn't understand at the time is that there's this elected version of K4C and there's also a staff version. And so there's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes. This is an opportunity to connect with other climate conscious electeds around King County and talk about work that our city is doing, work that other cities are doing, and try and figure out ways to collaborate or steal ideas. So I'll step back from this one if someone else is interested.
I actually really miss it. When you came on council, I was like, this sounds up your alley, and I handed it over. So I would love to return and have an alternate to turn to as well.
I can be your alternate if you want. It's usually during the day, and I have the daytime flexibility, so that might be a good. Put a word in. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
I don't.
That gesture is.
I don't know what the time schedule is on it. So, but I do recall it had been during the day.
It's Friday. It was Friday mornings.
Yes, before the MSWAC.
But
okay.
Not terrible morning time, like 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Yeah.
10 a.m.
There were some days. Okay, I was on ETP, and I go from ETP to K4C to MSWAC, and they were like all back to back.
Was it MSWAC or was it Ms. Whack Swack?
It was the MSWAC. Anyway,
Sorry, I had to say that.
It was kind of a lot. So I don't recommend anybody doing all of those because that's what will happen.
Just on a side note, are we still getting money from federal government for climate control for King County?
Day by day. All right, yeah, I think the much anticipated. So North Shore Parks and Recreation Services Area, or NPRSA, and for those not familiar with this, there is a shared special taxing district that's made up, I think identically to the North Shore School District. So we have representatives from both King and Snohomish County that are appointed to this board, as well as Bothell, Kenmore, Woodinville. And there is also, there are 2 staff positions that are administrators of this. They both then are housed in Bothell. We're the host administrative city. So you'll get good support. The primary purpose as currently constituted is for to develop, construction, and maintain facilities for older adults in the region. There's also ongoing conversations about a potential community center and pool with a potential site location in Woodinville, just over the border. So there's a lot to come in the next year. 2 of our 2 primary representatives are no longer on council, so this one had been staffed by them, and then alternate was Councilmember Dodd, and so we have 2 positions as the largest city in the district and 1 alternate to fill.
I am jumping in because as an alternate with some busy primary appointments, I got to represent the city quite a bit and be on the ILA subcommittee in the last 2 years, work on the levy, which just passed, and I would love to continue that as a voting member of the board. So I am mega interested in this one, if I can make up a new
Looks
term.
like we both probably are the primary, but I definitely want to be primary.
I've been waiting for this for 4 years, man.
That makes sense. So yeah, I think you also mentioned, so we could be both primary if that's okay.
We can talk about this at LTAC and see which one.
I mean,
get a
two
lot more.
two primary, right?
I would like to take one of the primary spots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
We'll before next week. We'll
And I think too, Councilmember Dodd was a faithful attendee as an alternate too, and so again, there's no reason that you can't attend. You can. I think even I've seen you speak at meetings when you're there as an alternate. You just don't get a vote.
It's not you get to sit at the table as an alternate. You just, if the other voting members are there, you don't vote. Yeah.
Got it.
All right, we're getting closer to the end. So on the next page, East Side Transportation Partnership, that was the one I mentioned in the preamble as well, of where it's interjurisdictional work and doing advocacy on transportation. This is one where staff monitors closely, and there are definitely meetings where it's very helpful to have both appointees there, where there's 2 council members and that are appointees, 2 alternates. This is the one I mentioned that there's a vote coming up on Friday that no matter how this vote goes, it might be very helpful to have the 2 incumbents participate if they're interested, but also looking for who wants to take this on for the next 2 years.
I mean, I know it's Amanda's favorite time, 7:30, but I would like to be considered. So.
I could stop and pick you up on the way. Okay. Only if I get to pick Amanda up. Yeah. If nobody else is looking for it, I'd be willing to do it again. I would also suggest if either of our new colleagues are interested in transportation or those discussions, this is one that is very centric to our area, and it's a really great opportunity to get to know some of our regional colleagues.
I can be alternative.
We will need one more alternate. You can have some time to think it over. Soul search, set an alarm.
I was an alternate, and I was blessed to not have to go to too many. So, okay, I will make the commitment then as an alternate.
All right. Next, and somewhat less frequent, it can meet up to quarterly. Just a quick conference with the Public Works Director. It sounds like it's been about twice a year. The WSDOT Executive Advisory Group. And I'm not sure. I'm guessing Mayor Thompson was our representative, but I actually don't know off the top of my head.
I actually don't know if I was over the last year either, because I don't remember the last one of these that I went to. I was on the EAG for a few years. It's clearly not the biggest commitment in the world. I'd be happy to keep doing it, but if anybody else is really passionate about being on the executive advisory group, I will not stand in your way.
Do we know what time?
We'll confirm and
cool.
Yeah.
I think the mayor should do it.
4 a.m.
Only if Amanda doesn't have to give up by the crack at 2 p.m. Sorry, Councilmember Dodd.
So the next is the Arch Council of Elected Officials, and again, some information was emailed to you earlier this week. There's no history of this because it is brand new.
I was going to say I'm interested, though they don't have any sort of times or dates, but I think I can be flexible enough. I met with them a month ago, and it seems like it's something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, and as a board member, I have voiced from the last 6 months as this has been coming up, we've been hearing more and more about conflicts during work days for our council members in Bothell. So I've been a loud voice of reminding them that after hours, this might be an evening commitment. I think they have committed to, they're going to try and target, the earliest starter would be 4, but looking in that 5 o'clock window, and once they have the names of the people who are going to participate, they're going to pull for time. So I think you'd be able to advocate for that.
And I would be interested in being the alternate for that. Hoping that the time works.
This next one is one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
With those nebulous timings of some of the, can we change members if somebody decides, one of the council members decide that I can't make it anymore?
Absolutely, and especially part of the pilot. Again, I was on a committee that was talking about the governance structure. There was some interest in jumping in and amending the interlocal agreement. What you may or may not know is that to change an interlocal agreement, every city council that has signed on to it has to then sign on to it again. So it's kind of an arduous process, and it's one that it would be great to measure twice and cut once. So this pilot is getting to that of, let's see how it works. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility in the first year. So absolutely. Next, on the next page, this one is one where I would encourage, if I can be your advisor for tonight, I would advise getting a nominee for someone to attend the January 15th Community Transit Board Member Selection Committee. There's no guarantee of a Bothell council member serving on the board, but there is a possibility, and so that's why this is listed here. Bothell is counted only by our population in Snohomish County for this role, and so we are considered a mid-sized city, so that's just something to keep in mind if you look at the bylaws or anything. We are a mid-sized city made up, that's also with Arlington, Lake Stevens, Mill Creek, Monroe, Mount Lake Terrace, and Mukilteo. At that January 15th board meeting then, a representative from each city but again, we're mid-sized, that'll be our group. Then each of those sizes, there's large, mid-size, and small, will select who represents them. And so community transit staff need to know who's coming. And they also very kindly suggested that if we can get this now, you have an opportunity then to talk to your colleagues from these other cities to express interest in the board, because at that meeting it's kind of like a papal selection. You're going to pick them. So tonight, if there's somebody who strongly wants to be on the board, you may also want to be the person that's the city's representative.
I'm happy to go. The community transit board meetings are in the afternoon during the workday, and I know that I'm free that day. And it carries a lot of cross topics with the snow track board that I'm on.
Sold.
Okay, we can go with consensus here. Is there anyone opposed? So with that, we will notify community transit tomorrow that Councilmember Dodd is our representative. Next is the North Urban Human Services Alliance, or NUSA, and I will turn things back over to our Assistant City Manager, Becky Range, to speak to this briefly.
Thank you. This is another human services focused group made up of cities on the north side, and it's actually a community advocacy group as well. And NUSA advocates for local solutions to human services challenges. And right now, I think they do a general membership meeting once a month, and there's also an executive board opportunity for NUSA.
So I've done this for the last 2 years. I greatly enjoy it. I don't want to gatekeep on it. It is the last Wednesday of the month, 9 a.m. The board meeting is at 10:30, so it ends up being a couple of hours on the Wednesday morning. And I can't, no offense to any other bodies that we're a member of, but I can't think of a better group of people, honestly.
It really is a fantastic group. I was not appointed through the city, but I've been on the board as a community member, and yeah, really fantastic group of people. A lot of crossover between the King County Coalition on Homelessness and NUSA, but also more in-depth presentations. It's a really great way to learn about human service organizations that are serving the community, and hear presentations across the region. So highly recommend. And I was not previously appointed, so that would be open, or if Amanda wanted to continue.
So you're still on the board as a community member, though?
I am.
Okay, so you're not seeking this one?
No.
Okay, something about your phrasing. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's available.
Yeah, no, and I'm interested in continuing, but I didn't want to sound like it had to be me. Okay, I guess it is, but yeah, thank you. And I've had Councilmember Alderks serve as my alternate, but then they're in the spot of sometimes being like, well, I'm already here as this person, so if anyone wants to be the alternate.
I mean, do you get 2 votes that way? Or their votes?
Technically, yes. I just am showing up as a resident.
I could be the alternate potentially. Let me check my work calendar.
Okay.
Thanks.
I have also had the advantage of being able to connect it to my work in Snohomish County, so I'm also able to attend in that capacity as well. So that's too many capacities to attend, so I should not be appointed to this.
Yeah, was gonna say, don't count on me, because I host a meeting every other Wednesday, and I need to make sure that I can be available.
Also, in a couple of years, you'll probably be one of the people standing around the table saying, in my capacity as, like, a big nerd.
Next on the list, and this is the final one that isn't intended for mayors, so it's really our last one to discuss, is the Cascadia College President's Community Advisory Council, which I mentioned is new to this list. Mayor Thompson and I have both participated, can answer any questions. Primarily, this purpose started as a leadership journey for the president of Cascadia, bringing in people from different sectors that are within the boundaries of Cascadia. So there's some nonprofits, there are some elected officials, there are some business people, a couple representatives from the board of Cascadia, and really sharing kind of issue spotting and trend spotting for what they're seeing in their capacities. It meets 3 times a year, and again, I think it'd be a great opportunity for city council members to participate. I'm always happy to go. Great people, but I do think that there's some good nexus of elected officials there.
Can I be alternative if somebody wanted? I would like to be alternative.
You want to continue or what?
If you want to do it, you should do it. I would happily continue, but if you want it, take it. It's all yours.
I would like to
Cool.
be considered.
You'll, for whatever reason, like every time I've been sick over the last year has been like during one of these. Like, so my attendance has not been sparkling, and I don't know why, but anyway.
That was a warning, I think. All right, yes, so on the completing the roster are 3 groupings for mayor's meetings, and so we will work with the mayor to make sure those are on his calendar. And with that, I think we made it through, unless there's any questions or revisiting.
Wow, that's great. I thought it's gonna go until 8:30.
That's next week. Maybe not, I don't know. All right, well, I don't have the gavel with me right now, so I can't hit it with the same authority that Laura did. I'm definitely not hitting it with my watch. But we are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.